Hey, I'm excited about today. We are going to go over, and by the way, I have this beautiful sun out for me. That's so fantastic. Today, I'm going to go over positive showcasing. For those of you who were in the business mastermind class, this will be a review for you. You can always go to the full length class. So this is a shortened version where we don't have all your questions and answers, but we do have just the material presented. These are part of my gift to you. A way for you to have access to a great strategist who does a lot of really cool stuff in the world at a price that everyone can afford. And YouTube is free. So that's fantastic. Again, these ideas are for you. These videos are created for you. And, you can share them and hang out with them, and you can subscribe, because that's the fun part is I've got a lot to create. And these are from the Business Mastermind group. Those groups meet once a month, and that's another project that I've done for the community. We were voted by the Women's Press to be the number one place to start a small business here in Minnesota. So that's a really big deal. So if you are a small business owner, hang out with us. And it is a public service that I have brought to the world, that they could have a mastermind with a leader that didn't cost them very much. So that was, again, radical sharing is the concept in prosperity. And this is it. So I'm going to share my screen. Today I'm going to talk about positive showcasing and what I love about it and what I want you to think about. But again, it's really to talk about kind of how you can go about not always selling and selling and selling and selling and selling, but actually showing your journey. And what I love about being able to show your journey is that's not always sell, 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 sell. You have to be able to, in your brand, especially for those of you who have really personal brands where you are doing one-to-one work, you want to showcase what you're doing. You want to be able to tell a different story. I do create my own slides. So again, remember, I am dyslexic, so sometimes things are spelled wrong. Which makes it more exciting because I'll never know. So you can always put that in the comment section. If you are watching this, not live, but as a replay, you can also put in the comment section replay. You can also, we actually read your comments, so you can put anything you want in the comment section. But these are, again, I have another product that I have of Workaway where I live somewhere else for 30 days out of the year. And then I take pictures and do all sorts of storytelling there. So today's pictures are from places that I've actually been, and that's, I think, exciting. But positive showcasing is really the culture moving the other way, where it was like, hey, look at me, hey, look at me, hey, look at me. We have found that loud and proud isn't always working, but having intention and a reason to stick around and talk to people is really going to be a better story. So we want you to really think about how to showcase, not just sell things. And this is where you really have to learn to trust your brand identity and how you utilize it. And what that means is that you have to be the guide. You have to guide the conversations that you want to have. And the other part that comes up around today's topic is, you hear it from me a lot, especially if you're live with me, is that, right, we are blessed to be a blessing. It is a joy and sometimes a thrill ride, but it is a joy to be able to have the opportunity to be in business, to be successful in business. And one of the things that you want to do with your social media is to talk about and share the best side of that blessing. When we look at some of the interviews that we've done around other clients and the prosperity that they've had, that's the biggest deal, I think, that is what is I'm proud of, is, again, how does the brand identity actually make itself known in the world? And how do you show that blessing? Good fortune takes a while. It takes effort. And everybody that I've met that's come to class has really come by their fortune honestly. They actually get up and go to work and do stuff. And you're probably no exception. So you want to also be able to, out of today, you're going to want to take notes, and you're going to want to really look at the systems and the messages that you're giving, because the outside goal is you're there to make sales go faster. So, it is to really put systems and messages together about why you're doing something or how you're doing it, and what does that do for everyone. And it just makes things go faster. Remember, you're still there to make money. You just don't have to feel like a huckster to be able to do it. You can actually just enjoy the social paradigm of what is here now. So enjoy your journey. And I do think it's a sacred journey. That is the way I feel about it. So I would also look at media and what you're creating a lot more like a sacred object that's there to inspire. I like today, this is my own photography, right? So I put effort into what I'm sharing with you because I want you to see what I think is interesting. So when you're thinking about putting out objects in social media, I would not just think of it as though, oh, let me slap up this picture and tell them that we're here today. That's not going to build someone wanting to lean in closer. So sacred always starts with your point of view and the way you move in the world. What is impressive? What is interesting? What is the wisdom that you have? When we look at, some of you have been in business for 20 years, and that really has a lot of thoughts, a lot of experiences, a lot of learning. And what social media allows us all to do is it allows us to sculpt, right? To really go through all of the layers and all of the pieces of thoughts and the experiences and the learning, and put them into great wisdom, and then to offer it up to other people. So when you think about your point of view in the world, you really want to enjoy that. As somebody who sees the world in beauty and light, you get to light the path for another. That's pretty powerful. And again, that we are moving to a softer side in creating media, and photos are coming back. And I'll tell you why they're coming back. They're coming back because people are comforted by something that's holding still. We're so real. They're going to come back for, let me just sit with this photo, or let me be able to scroll a little faster. And we also see people running away from negative showcasing, right? Negative showcasing, we've had too much, right? The problem with this, that, right? Negative showcasing is one that always brings caution to the selling environment, and that this product needs caution. That's really negative showcasing. We're doing the opposite of how do we kind of do that. And one of the things that I do think has happened from negative showcasing is that it has heightened the awareness goal that people have the illusion of feeling safe. So when you start to think about why would you do negative showcasing, you want to think about what's the answer that you want to give people. Do you want them to be always looking for safety? No. What you want in the journey with people is that they want to be the right customers for the products that you're offering. You're not there to heighten someone's fear basis of, you'll never get it right from this other thing, right? Just focus on the good parts and the good things that you make happen. Now, when we look at the friends are not your customers, I get a lot of pushback on this, but I'm going to push you right back. And that I would, as someone who has built a wealthy life, I would always say to you, your friends are worth more than anything. So take the oath on the friends that you have is to keep them as friends, and then to keep your business entity separate. And because the intimacy levels that are, the intimacy that's required for those relationships is different. And this got really cloudy in the last decade. So remember that your business is an entity that's separate from you. Even though I'm a consultant that's really huggable, and people see me at public events, and they see me in airports, and they see me all over the country, it isn't that my friend is very different than a customer. And when you are looking at that and you start to push those together, it doesn't help your friendship, and it doesn't actually help your business. So do customers become friends? Absolutely. I've made a lot of great friends out of my customers, but the intimacy expectation is very different. And it is a line that many entrepreneurs cross for a variety of reasons. And some of them are fear, and some of them are just unrealistic expectations. But the reality is that I remind my friends that you're my friend first, and that's worth more to me than a customer relationship. And because friends are really special. So when you think about that fact of intimacy, that there are rules for engagement. Intimacy and customer relationships have rules. And when you are working on positive showcasing, you have to know that that's the first thing, right? That there's intimacy. There's intimacy, that we are looking for a deeper, broader, healthy boundaries. So one, you have to build a separate identity for your business, and only for the business and products, and the business is for selling. Your business isn't for anything else. Business is there to make money. It's there to do a product and a sell of that product. Even if your product is helping, it's still a product. Even if your brand is customers that everybody has told you, you are the brand, you are the brand, you are the brand that you are building, what you are building and selling is something that isn't about you. It's something that you created for them. So that's my first pushback, right? Everything that you think is you, it's not. You're doing it for them. I am here to give you content that's useful to you, because you are what is important in my business model. So even if you have a personal brand and you have it in your head that it has to be about you, it's not about you. It's about the people and what they receive. And one of the other things that I remind people about is that when you buy from somebody who is a business, there is a layer of protection. And that for many people is very important. That if I buy from an individual, that's one thing. But if I buy from an individual who's also a business, there is recourse. I get to have other rules that are attached to that. So when you're doing business, know that there's a layer of protection around you. And that is sometimes called insurance. Sometimes that is called being able to close the doors. That's being able to say, I don't serve you anymore. Very different when it's a friend. So a business is fun. It opens and closes every day. It's at a specific time. And friendships don't have that same expectation. A friendship doesn't have an expectation always that you're done with them at 3 p.m. because you know, it doesn't work that way. So brand identity, that is the part of the business that the customer feels belongs to them. And so in that brand identity, I'll give you an example, which is everybody knows me, knows that I am crazy busy. They all know that I am booking a year in advance. They all know that this sells out. It's very difficult to get an appointment, but we really have built systems to allow you to be able to find time. We find time because that is our brand identity. If there's a problem, I'll stay late, I'll come in early. We have times for people when they have craziness, right? But that brand identity for us, for me, for my firm, is that when you and I have time, it's only us. There's no interruptions. It's only our time. There's nothing else happening. The rest of the world gets to dissolve and go away, right? That is the part that belongs. That's the brand identity that belongs to the customer. It's the customer. What do they believe belongs to them? And so when you're thinking about brand identity, I would think about and intimacy, right? You're creating healthy sales intimacy. And that is always starting in trust and mutual appreciation, right? Hey, thanks for that. So if somebody sends something over to the office, which they often do, so sometimes they'll send me a lunch or they'll send me some popcorn yesterday, which I am trying to not eat right now, but that, you know, they'll send something in. Great. Let me appreciate that, right? Let me post up. Thank you for sending that over. But think about when you are looking at this as positive showcasing, we're going to talk about the awesome things that happen between you and your customers around intimacy and brand identity. So you may want to think about this as positive showcasing of other examples of client experiences of being seen and heard, right? We ordered it for them, right? Maybe we can do this for you. So fixing something that is damaged, telling truths, or taking a social responsibility. Sometimes a social responsibility may just be around doing something the right way. There's a lot of ways that you can take social responsibility. My neighbor is sick, so I'm gonna just go up there. Tomorrow's trash day, and she's not feeling well. So I'm just gonna go over there and ask her if she wants me to take her trash out. Do you want to let me in, and I'll pick up all your trash and bring it out to the garage. And that's a social responsibility. Showcasing is also the understanding of each other. Sometimes it is, so I think about a lot of people comment on my glasses all the time, right? Having glasses that are cool, and maybe showing the process of getting glasses from, for customers, what that's about, right? It's a way to also buy, receive, repair, rekindle, right? Giving people a way to showcase how are we doing business with you and what is that. So repeat buying relationships are complex. They are not easy. So getting somebody to buy from you once is one thing. Getting somebody to buy from you twice is another. Getting someone to buy from you every single month for the rest of their life, that's magic. So, and that's where you get this brand purchase stability. That is what you're looking for. That's what I'm looking for. That's what all of us are looking for, is that people have found that we deliver on the brand promise and the delivery, and that we are clear about what the customer's view is of the relationship. And then that allows us to have this brand purchase stability. And by the way, when I'm doing these, you can just click your phone to take a picture of anything that we have. You don't have to try to write down all this stuff. And well, it's a video. You can replay, you can pause, but it's so much easier to just screenshot. So one is, what are the rules around trust in general? But trust and building a healthy sales intimacy is mutual appreciation. I'm glad to see you. You're glad to see me. These are feelings of being seen and heard, fixing whatever is damaged, telling truths and taking responsibility. Sometimes I screw things up. Some things I do it right. Sometimes I get lucky, right? It's really telling the truth of the process and understanding of each other's, right? Understanding that a customer is there to buy. Why are they there? Are they there to receive something, repair something, rekindle something, right? It's understanding why someone's here. When I start out a call with someone in business, that I go, okay, what are the expectations that we have to get through today? Or I have a list. I always start every meeting with a list of what I think we need to do, but that doesn't mean that that's what they need to do. So I will say, I have a list. What is on your list first, because your list is more important. And we kind of work it from there. So there are rules for building intimacy. And I think the best place to start that is trust and mutual respect. I like you, you like me. So going back to why we all have to change the way you're doing social media is, well, one, you don't have to change. You don't have to change, but 60 to 80% of everybody's social media audience is deadwood. They are not paying attention. They're not watching. They don't care. They don't care. And you don't have to be mad. You don't have to be mad. You have to just appreciate what deadwood is. Deadwood is, right, is that it takes some space, but it's not actually the interaction that you're looking for that actually leads to the 80-20 rule of sales, right? 80% of the sales are coming from 20% of the people. Well, if 80% of your social media is not paying attention, how do you get to the 20? And that is why you have to be very aware of who is paying attention and who is engaging and who is seeing you. And so stop trying to sell everybody everything. It's not for everyone. So you will start sending out special offers to people, that you will send out some messages that are for the larger part of your social media, right? Let everyone see the beautiful scenery of your business, that you can showcase that this is beautiful here and we love beautiful people and you are beautiful people and we'd like you to come over and do business with us. But these specific offers or things that are happening, these are going to individuals. And that is individuals that have a deeper, more intimate relationship to your brand. And you've heard this from me before, but I'm going to say it again. Clean your data, right? Remember, I'm a math geek. I love me some tech, love me some tech. And the tech is that you have to keep your data clean. You have to keep your contact lists clean. You have to update that stuff because it's so critical. You have too many laws that are here that will count you out. They'll shut you down if you are using dirty data. And dirty data is sending to emails that don't exist anymore. That is, your bounce rate. How many people are actually reading what you're sending? If they're not reading what you're sending, stop sending them stuff. You can pause everyone and then send again in 4 months and see if they're like, oh, wow, I haven't heard from them in a long time. If your people are turning off, you're talking too much. When you think about growing, I would always say, what is it that you're growing? And so from the prosperity mindset, I'm going to say to you, you want to grow something that is delicious and extraordinary, and that you have real specific goals on your vision and voice, and not just like batches of ideas, right? We're really looking at what is the goal for what you're presenting out into the world. And when I say positive showcasing, here's the bias that I have on the topic of you and what you're creating is that it's really hard for the vast majority of the world to focus long enough to be great at something. So if you already have the ability to be great at something, you just have to keep doing it consistently and beautifully and thoughtfully, and you will continue to succeed. So your goal is always to be the first stop that someone goes to in their social media. You want them to look forward to your post. Oh my gosh, that was such a good story. Do you remember this story? That they want, they can come up with their own because. I love her because she's funny. I love her because she's this. I love him because he's this. So think about that. You want somebody to be wanting to watch what you're creating, not to see what's on sale. And your words, your images, your smiles, your products give meaning and hope to someone else's journey. Sometimes in the stories that I'm sharing, someone will see themselves. And they'll see themselves, and the hope is that they'll see themselves in a kinder, thoughtful, gentle, more loving way. And so when you're thinking about the journey that you're taking in positive showcasing, you do get to laugh and play and play out loud with your community. And again, blessed to be a blessing. Invite others to bless you back. I see a lot of people going out here, push out, push out, push out. Again, receive, receive, receive. We receive so much from the people that we do business with that we must give them tribute. We must invite them into the process, that we enjoy their leadership and their resources and the things that they bring to the table. So taking time in positive showcasing is to showcase all of the ways that your life is a little bit delicious or communal. When you're thinking about the ways that you can positively showcase in social media, you want to think about maybe something that was revealed for you. So is there something that happened in your journey, in your business, in a product that surprised you? Is there magic somewhere in your store? What inspired you that would inspire somebody else? Did you learn something? Right? Not just sharing a happy thought, hey, these are cute. It's much different if you say, hey, this flower bloomed, and this is a true story. This is the flower that you are seeing. This is a flower I planted when we mixed our family. So I have a blended family. And when we first blended them, I planted a tulip for every child, for every person in our family. And every time it comes up, now this was planted 20 years ago. And that that I send a picture every time somebody's flower comes up, that I'm like, hey, and this is our daughter Lindsay's flower, that I'm like, hey, here it is, Lindsay Pink. So every year she gets this flower. It's growing in my garden. She lives across town, but right, it's really interesting. So now from that story in positive showcasing, I could have said, and to celebrate that, it's Pink Pants Week, right? So you're sharing something that's individual about you or individual about your story, and then moving it on. Another thing that you can use in positive showcasing as a tool is to invite a different perspective. Sometimes we are really locked into seeing the world in our way, which is I'm okay, that means you're okay. And that's not always how it works. But it is to invite perspective for somebody to look at something different, to just see something in a different way. Shower of connection. Positive showcasing is a lot like watching, right, water falling, right? It's not a direct flow. It sprinkles equally, right? So what goes out comes back in. What goes out comes back in. So you're really looking to push out content into the world that sprinkles over and comes back in and rejuvenates you and puts back out again. So, right, what goes out comes back in. What goes out comes back in. So what that means for you is that you may be looking for content that allows people to have an opinion on something, right? So sometimes I'll put out a really basic post on solve my argument. And one of them was, right, solve my argument. We had it at the dinner table. Solve my argument. Should there ever be nuts in ice cream, right? What goes out, it's a problem that everybody has and everybody has a feeling on it. They can push it back in, right? Now I have a lot of engagement that isn't about selling something, but it's around playing with my guests, the people that I really care about, right? What goes out comes in. This is also a time to put out things that are available, that these are benefits that can also go to everyone equally. Sometimes I'm just going to put it out as something that's funny. Sometimes it is, hey, I'm adding office hours. Are you a morning person or an evening person? It might be, hey, here is some frequently asked questions. FAQs are great to work on that shower of connection. Hey, here's a frequently asked question. Do you agree with it? Right? I'm going to send something out that equally belongs to everyone, and everyone can put it back in. Sometimes it is, I'll invite people to just go, what would you benefit from? Do you even like Zoom classes? And one of the things that came out of asking about a Zoom class is that everybody begged me to have in-person classes again. So it's that they wanted that experience. They wanted that time live with everyone in the group. So use that shower of connection as a tool. Another positive showcasing conversation that you can have on social media is to talk about just interest and growth. That it's fun to talk about things that are kind of quirky and weird. Maybe looking at something in the market, the makers, the partnerships, the growing, the exciting ways. I'm a math geek, so I'm super entrenched in specific kinds of math. I'm a strategist, so I really dig strategy. I really like, I again, there's lots of weird things that I like. So it's finding things that your customer base finds interesting and talk about that in interesting growth. One of the things as I was putting this up and reminding people that still pictures are coming back, they are not gone. But there are 1.3 billion photos are uploaded on Instagram daily. Gosh, thanks for looking at mine. So when people even look at my post, I am thankful. And what is interesting is that from when I first started the photography to now, that 93% of all the images you see that are on Instagram are taken from a cell phone. That is crazy change. When you are looking at how are you going to positively engage with people, this is my dog Boomer. He has passed away. when he is 13 in this picture, and I knew that it was going to be my last summer with him. So I decided that he and I were going to have this brave summer. So I just took every morning. He and I got up early, and he was a chicken. He had a lot of health issues. So this is him being like brave and strong and walking in front of me. That dog always walked behind me, that he would wait for me to walk first and he would follow behind me. So when we got out into the woods, that I would keep shooing him in front, right? So this for Boomer is Boomer's best summer. It's his last summer, but it's his best summer of being his best self, right? It was just as hot that day as it is today. So sometimes the things that you're going to talk about in your journey are really the growth inside your journey, the ways that you've grown. How have you changed? What are the things that were interesting? It doesn't have to be long necessarily, but it's fun. And it's things that people are going to be interested in. I love growth inside your journey, especially when I look back at hairstyles or look back at where you were or maybe other locations. I've had a lot of different offices, so people like to remember that office. And I do each office really differently so that when I move offices, it feels like a fresh slate. Everybody has a new space. It's one of my favorite things to do. So when you are thinking about that, you want to think about, right, what is interesting and what's fun, especially if you've been in business for a long time. Boy, do we have a lot of hairstyles. It's clusters of perspective is another way to think about this. It's really telling a larger story. And that's why there's this one little green grape here. This picture is actually from Italy. And I was sitting under this cluster. But it's telling a larger story that has lots of little small ideas that kind of make a big bundle of thought. So it allows you to kind of connect a lot of little things into a big cluster. So anyway, when I think about that, it is a fact, like reducing our packaging on all sides of our production, we save 700 tons of emissions annually. That is an actual fact from one of our businesses. And so it's to let people know, hey, here's a cluster of perspective that the perspective is that we're going to reduce our packaging and we're going to do it in every single part of our thing. And we're going to talk about that. And what does that bring to the bigger conversation? The other thing I like to talk about is why you bloom in specific ways. Sometimes people don't understand why you do things the way that you do. And I think it's really helpful to just remind people, right? Prosperity is the ability to magnify. And it is the saying that you hear from me in classes, it's really hard to be a lemon branch when you're really a cherry blossom. And that is that you have to be uniquely you. And you have to be true to your brand and create the things that you can create. You don't have to be something else. Just because someone else offers something doesn't mean you have to offer something. This is your show. You get to have it the way that works for you. And that's really fun. So you may want to talk about why you do that blooming in the ways that you do. I just dropped my pen, so you're going to see me move around a little bit here. Oh, and now I picked up this noisy fan. Wow. Let's keep going. Metamorphic change. If you have had metamorphic change, you're going to want to talk about that. And it may be that you have a lot of ideas that have changed in the past. The way that I thought about things is very different now than it was even 10 years ago, especially around prosperity. That the thoughts and ideas that I had on even why women had different amounts of wealth. It was very different now than I had it in 25 years ago. And their position is very different than 25 years ago. So you may want to talk about what are the differences? How have you been through a metamorphosis? And what did that do for you? And how was that really helpful to you? Talk about refinement. When you look at a process, especially for those of you who are store owners that have learned how to put things out on the floor very differently, you may want to talk about how you have changed and refined your ideas and what you thought about anything. You know, I think about this, and I put it on a note here, right? We used to ring things up with a sticker, and then we used to close things for 4 days because that's how we managed inventory. Now we manage inventory at the point of sale, right? A POS system. For those of us who are been around in sales for a long time, boy, there used to be a very different way to do inventory. Now I get to know my inventory based on what the machine says, but then I double check it. But it used to be that I didn't even know it was in my store unless we closed it and counted everything. So you can talk about that. What are the phases? How did we used to do it? How do we do it now? It's just a fun way for people to understand your business, understand your growth. I think this picture is actually, I think the start of my snail fetish is these two snails that I met while walking the dog in the park. So you may want to think about how you meet up around goals. You may want to just think about how your business helps people be happy. How does what you do help people achieve some sort of success or outcome? So you can think about your own wording on what that would be. This is a whole in a view. So this is actually from Maine, but talk about things that are missing and how that would be interesting to the buying options that you're offering. So one of the things that happens a lot for me with high performing females, which is a lot of what I hang out with, when I look at high performers, what are they all missing, right, is accountability partners at their level. So if I were going to talk about what is missing, it would be to say, hey, let's identify the hole in the view. And how do we do that? Maybe it's really, again, aren't these great snails? I loved them. I thought they were really fantastic, but I know that I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of comments on these snails, but I love them. But one of the things that when you're doing positive showcasing is really discussing the speed of goals. What I thought was going to not take a long time really took a long time. What I thought, I remember thinking 20 years, oh my gosh, that like, what if I could be in business for 20 years? And, you know, I've had two 20-year careers. So now they seem like they go quick. Not all goals that you're going to have for yourself or with your customers are done in one transactions. And sometimes it is when I'm working with businesses and things like that, that I tell them, here is, if you want to be a business customer of mine, we're going to need 5 years. And 3 years is this, 1 year is this, and this is what it looks like. And I will often just give people the speed of goals. A lot of times when people want business growth from me, that I tell them, what resources do you have to put at the table? Because we can only move at the speed of resource movement. So when you are thinking about what you're talking about, it's really talking about the speed of goals for that. So if somebody made a lot of progress in something that you're teaching, a lot of you teaching classes or coaching, you want to talk about the speed at which those goals were really happening. This actually was a quote from somebody. I started really getting better at writing after I was about a year into the program. And that was somebody that came in through a journaling class that I offered. So I started getting really better at writing after I did it for about a year. So that helps people kind of go, yeah, maybe I should stick with this. Pairings are interesting. I think that's another way that we can positively showcase of how this thing fits with this thing, and just other adventurous or precarious ways that two unique things will fit together and be interesting. So sometimes a pairing and just showcasing that will change the pattern mentally for someone and give them a new perspective. Another way that you can use positive showcasing is showing a story of scale. How does this idea grow? How does it get really big? This is the same, this is that same forest from a different perspective. It's kind of fun. So the takeaways that I really want you to take away, you can screenshot this, remember, is that intimacy and customer relationships have rules. If you want deeper intimacy with your customers that are looking for your brand first because it brings them something, you really do have to build intimacy, and intimacy requires trust. That means that you have to have relationships that are deeper, broader, healthier, and have boundaries. That you always have to have a separate identity for your business that's only about the business and the products that you're selling. Or you have to stop thinking that your friends are your business customers, because they're not. And the faster you get that together, sure. Can you do business with people who are also friends? Sure. But they're not your customer. They may be co-creators. They may be a lot of things. Even in the personal brand, they are not actually buying you. They are buying what you are building or the things that you created for them. So stop trying to sell you as being the great thing. You are not the great thing. They are the great thing. Your customers are the great thing. And the thing that they are buying is the great thing you made for them. And right, that buying from a business, it has a layer of protection around it. People are more likely to buy from a business because there's safety in that for them. So it is important that you have things like insurance. And that makes people feel that they are respected in that relationship because you respected yourself and your business enough to put the proper business things around it. And business is fun. So, you know, it allows you to be able to open and close every day and not have to kind of take on extra jargon. Okay. So have a plan to showcase and not just sell. Trust your brand identity, right? Remember, business is a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. Good fortune takes effort to get you there. You've got to have some clarity around what's there. And of course, I'm always going to invite you to enjoy the journey, because this is everybody's best art project. It's so fun to be in business and you are good at it. So enjoy what you can create and co-create with everyone. Well, thank you for spending the time with me. Thank you for showing up, for taking notes. Again, you can subscribe. You can watch the next class. You can leave a comment. We actually listen to them. So I'll see you soon. Bye.